Welcome, readers. Today on Book Chat, joining me is my Buddy Reads co-host, Classy. We'll be discussing These Toxic Things, written by Rachel Housel Hall. Stay tuned. Today's episode is sponsored by the book We Are Not Like Them, written by Christine Pride and Joe Piazza. It's the Mocha Girls Read National Book Club's October Book of the Month. Visit their website and join in today. Jen and Riley have been best friends since kindergarten. As adults, they remain as close as sisters. Though their lives have taken different directions, Jen married young and after years of trying is finally pregnant. Riley pursued her childhood dream of becoming a television journalist and is poised to become one of the first Black female anchors of the top news channel in their hometown of Philadelphia. But the deep bond they share is severely tested when Jen's husband, a city police officer, is involved in the shooting of an unarmed Black teenager. Like Taraji Jones's An American Marriage and Jodi Picoult's Small Great Things, We Are Not Like Them explores complex questions of race and how they pervade and shape our most intimate spaces in a deeply divided world. But at its heart, it's a story of enduring friendship, a love that defies the odds even as it faces its most difficult challenges. We Are Not Like Them is available now. Pick up your copy wherever books and audiobooks are sold. Visit mochagirlsread.com to learn more about the book club and to read along with them. The links are in the show notes. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and thank you for downloading this month's Buddy Read discussion featured here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. If you're new here, every week we get bookish with book discussions, book reviews, shelf bites, and more. If you're wondering what is a Buddy Read, this is a feature where Classy and I select a thriller or mystery title that we both are interested in. Then we have a candid conversation about that book or audiobook. We even discuss it in our Facebook group, Shelf Addiction Official, during a live chat. So grab a glass of wine, a cocktail, a cup of tea or coffee, whatever your drink of choice is, and settle in for this fun discussion. As always with book chats, there is a spoiler alert in effect, so you've been warned. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support this podcast by sharing it with your book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. That will really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing it. The uncut video version of this podcast is available now on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including this podcast after show. If you'd like to support the show in other ways, please consider doing that by supporting our sponsors. By supporting them, you are supporting us. Check out all of the sponsors at shelfaddiction.com/sponsors. If you've read the book or listened to the audiobook and would like to weigh in on this conversation, be sure to join the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official. I hope to hear your thoughts on this discussion. Links for everything I've mentioned are in the show notes, so let's get going. We've got a lot to cover today, so we are going to just hop right on in. Joining me is the Buddy Read feature co-host, Classy Green from the Bookish Virtual Assistant. Welcome back, Classy.
Hey, Tamara, thank you for having me one more month.
Of course. It's wonderful to have you as always.
Thank you.
And before we start this discussion, if you're interested in today's after show, head on over to Patreon right now. It's available now, and we are talking about an interesting topic that you don't want to miss. Today, we are talking about the book These Toxic Things, written by Rachel Housel Hall, narrated by Susan Dalian. I hope that's how it's pronounced. Published September 1st, 2021 by Thomas M. Mercer and Brilliance Audio. The hardcover comes in at 430 pages, and the unabridged audio length is 12 hours and 21 minutes. So this is not a short read. Classy, would you kindly share the synopsis with us?
Yes. A dead woman's treasured trinkets become pieces to a terrifying puzzle. Mickey Lambert creates digital scrapbooks for clients, ensuring that precious souvenirs aren't forgotten or lost. When her latest client, Nadia Denham, a curio shop owner, dies from an apparent suicide, Mickey honors the old woman's last wish and begins curating her peculiar objects d'art: a music box, a hair clip, a keychain, 12 mementos, all in all that must have been so much to Nadia, who collected them on her flea market scavenges across the country. But these tokens meant a lot to someone else too. Mickey has been receiving threatening messages to leave Nadia's past alone. It's becoming a mystery Mickey is driven to solve. Who once owned these odd treasures? How did Nadia really come to possess them? Discovering the truth means crossing paths with a long dormant serial killer and navigating the secrets of a sinister past, one that Mickey fears may be inescapably entwined with her own.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm like, the synopsis better than the book.
It's pretty, it gives you a really good detail of what's happening. And then you read the book and things are kind of lost in translation a little bit, drawn out a lot.
Yeah.
So let me just say, I guess if you guys can't tell already, this is not one of my faves. It's not hitting it for me.
No, not at all. Same here. I struggle with this, with the book. Good premise, but I'm not sure where it went wrong. I really don't. I don't know like where it went wrong. I understood the premise of the digital or the what do they call that?
Archaeology.
And it was kind of like digital archaeology, and almost like hologram stuff, like she would say, whatever, tell me about my memory with a music box. And I got that, with the futuristic kind of thing, but something was lost. I don't know if it was just the too many characters. I realized it was going to be a mystery to solve, but it's difficult to understand.
Yeah, I feel like with the digital archaeology thing, it was a cool concept, but honestly, all I could think was synergy. Give me this gem is excitement. I'm like, oh my God. I had a feeling like of Gem and the holograms, like with the machine making things look there and spinning around. And I'm like, okay, that is not what she was going for, but that is the mess that popped into my head. I'm not even going to lie. So anyway, I'm like, well,
yeah, especially because there would be times at night when she was just sitting at home and she wanted to think about a memory and she would just bring that up.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see that, being that way. I thought it was like a scrapbook, that you just kind of keep and you look through, but I don't know. It's
too futuristic for the time of the story. Like it's present day LA.
Yep.
And this seems too far in the future. I mean, is it supposed to be like a music box? You open it and the holograms pop out? Is it like a snow globe? You look into it and the holograms show up? I mean, I had a hard time visualizing the delivery of it, right? I got the concept of it, but what is the person when they buy this? What sits on the counter? Is it a book you open and the things pop up? I mean,
you're
what
right.
Is it?
That does make a lot of sense, right? Because I think even in the story they referenced the that magic 8-ball. Remember the magic 8-balls you used to shake and get your future read or whatever. And I wonder if that was kind of what she was trying to get the reader to visualize, because I'm thinking, why would you even bring that up? For one, I think the young lady in the story probably was too young for the magic, because unless they still exist, I mean, who knows with Spencer's? Do you guys remember Spencer's gifts?
I do remember Spencer's.
Yeah, and Spencer's has, all those weird gifts. But I agree with you that this was too futuristic for today's time. Now, if she was in a different time, this may have come over maybe like a sci-fi or, futuristic, a sci-fi futuristic mystery. Yes, but today's time, she should have just stuck to scrapbook.
Yeah, I agree. And I think so. The tech, I think, was part of the component that one of the things that went kind of wrong.
Yeah.
And I also think, honestly, the characters kind of made the story go left. And I only say this because I did not like the main character. I did not like Mickey, aka Michaela, or whatever her name was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like her at all. I was constantly confused by her wearing her parents' clothing. I'm like, why are you wearing all her clothing? Why are you wearing your dad's pajamas? Like, what is this? Like, how old are you? What is happening?
Yeah. Yeah, she was a, what do they call that? I guess you're gonna say young adult. She was not even 25, I believe, if that.
Yeah.
Still living at home with her parents. I took that as her wearing her mother's clothes as being very, very close with her mother. But I mean, there was no times, I think, in the story that she owned her own clothes. She was wearing, her mother went and got all the designer stuff and she wore it. Now, that was like,
I think there was one scene where her mother was wearing a super casual outfit that might have been partially hers.
Yeah, she had dressed down for the day, I think the mom did. But yeah, it was
weird.
Michaela was very immature, and then I was trying to like figure out why. And even though we figure out later on that she was adopted, that still didn't parallel or connect me. I won't say parallel. I still didn't get the connection of the wearing of the parents' clothes. And I mean, because it was to the point where she was like watching her mother buy the stuff and it was like, oh, that's gonna be mine. I'll be wearing that outfit.
Oh my God, right? The mother's like, do not wear these. She said, not until spring or something. She says, like, this girl is so bratty. She borrowing these clothes without permission, shoes, purses, and then proceeds to spill shit on them constantly. Oh, I'll take it to the cleaners. Oops.
So you know what then, like now that you say that, and then I go back and I think about Dexter. So maybe she was trying to give us the image of a spoiled brat, or maybe someone who was slightly bougie. So maybe that was the characteristic she was trying to portray, because even Dexter said you're basically a daddy's girl. Very spoiled. So maybe that was the thing. But
it was. Think about it. She also had a hand-me-down Mercedes-Benz.
Yes, she did.
And she worked for her father's company until she decided to work for her boyfriend's company. That is.
And all your money is probably spent on yourself because you're living in your parents' house. And I really doubt that she was living in the garage over the house or something.
Well, it's like an apartment over it. I visualized it as the main house, and then you have a separate garage, like a detached garage with an apartment on top.
On top of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was a spoiled brat. And my thing is, like, I didn't like her either. But my thought is, if I didn't like her, then that was something that the writer did a good job of, because she, you know what I mean? She wanted us to see her as bratty. She wanted us to see her as spoiled. Because I don't think she wanted her to be likable. Did you think that?
I'm not sure. I feel like there is some conflict with that. Like, if you're going to have a main character, a protagonist that is gross, I mean, she wasn't as bad as she could have been, but she's pretty unlikable, by the, big scheme of things. But then all these things are happening to her and we're supposed to feel some type of empathy. It's like hard to connect. Okay, she is fearful because of this text message. And like, even the one scene where she keeps getting the text, and the boyfriend or whoever, I can't remember if it was just the new guy she was dating, the lady's son or what. He's like, just block him. Just block him. What are you doing? I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, what is this? Like, I could not connect to her even a little bit, even in the face of these things, strange things happening to her. I just felt disassociated. So if you want me to feel bad for her or care about what's happening to her, in my mind, you shouldn't make her dislikable. You shouldn't make her where people don't like her. I feel like.
So maybe instead, so she could have been the antagonist instead of the protagonist, and we're not going to like her. Yeah. And I was thinking there wasn't too many people I liked except for Anne. Is it Annie? The lady who owned the restaurant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do get that. I get that. That if
now,
you
she
do
didn't
want
have
us
to
to have
be
some sympathy.
Yeah, she didn't have to be perfect, right? Of course you want some flaws to come through, but not like that. Like,
yeah. She was the really bratty girl in school that probably was a little slight bully, or maybe like a mean girl. I felt like she could have been a mean girl. On the sly, or the one who would get other people. She was the mean girl, but she had her little flunkies
right,
that would do her stuff, because she would also come off as very likable. That kind of mean girl that, oh no, but she's really likable, but she has that little cutthroatness to herself.
That's what I like to call nice nasty. Like, she's really nice to your face,
that will stab you in the back and smile. Yeah. So yeah,
or she'll say something to somebody and be like, "Oh, I did. Oops." You did that ish on purpose,
and you can't erase it because you've already let it go.
Yeah, it's like she's that. So you take all those things, and it's like some of the so that I think contributed to me not liking this book, and then also the plot was kind of all over the place. And part of that problem was when we would get some of the background of some of the pieces that, she was supposed to be documenting. And I'm like, is she making this up? Or did the old woman write this out? I'm like, what is this story? Like, where is it coming from? Like, I had a hard time imagining that woman wrote this long, drawn out third person story for herself.
For these pieces that she came across. What it almost reminded me of is Hairpin Bridge, with the diary part. It really, I had those kind of feelings too. Like, okay, who is this? She could have said, dictated by or whatever. And again, I think I even told you, I thought maybe this book would have been better read if we read it instead of listened. But I'm not sure. Really not sure. But especially with those kind of diary kind of entries, like I wonder how they were written out.
Yeah. Maybe seeing them, but that would still make me wonder, is this your job to sit here and make up story? Are you making up stories about this stuff? Because you never got a chance to really sit down with her and hear her opinion, her thoughts on these pieces. You were supposed to be doing this work with her.
Yeah.
And she died. So are you making it up?
Right. I think she may have had one interview, maybe two. Because she did record some conversations. I do remember that she recorded some conversations. So maybe that's, again, what we were supposed to assume as readers, that these were recorded and dictated thoughts. But again, as a reader, and you just gave us 400 something pages, we probably shouldn't have to figure all that out. Because it's a mystery. My thing is, I want to figure out the mystery. I don't want to figure out all this other minutia. And it was a lot of minutia.
So, and that's, I guess, another part. So the plot had a couple mysteries. So the first mystery is what happened to the old lady. Did she kill herself? Did she not?
Right.
And then Michaela is, her issue. Who is following me? Who is texting me?
Yeah.
Which rolls into two different things.
Yep. And, they branched off to another mystery.
Yes. And then we have this big family reveal, which she turns into a complete brat about it. And it's like, oh my God, I don't understand why this was in here at all. Yeah. And, so the part, we're just going to jump around. You know how we do. So the part I'm talking about is like, Michaela is always talking about, why is your room locked? Why is that, asking her parents in their own house, why are they locking doors? First off, little girl, do you pay a penny for anything in this bitch? No, you don't. Right.
Yep.
Why do I have to explain
how grown I
myself?
am? I'm not going in unless she says go in there. I am not going in my mama's room.
Exactly. And that's another
thing. I don't care how close we are.
Girl, exactly. I would never go in my mom's room and start opening drawers without her telling me, go in there and look for XYZ. This is where you should look.
Plus, I don't want to run across nothing I don't want to be running across.
I know. And I don't grasp it. I'm like, because, she is Black, right? Her family is Black. I'm like, I felt like that was not something
culturally.
Yes,
exactly. Right. Little girl, get your, know better.
Exactly.
That's what, we immediately just said that to her. Like, I'm grown as hell, and I'm not going in my mama's room. Not just all willy nilly, or even asking her why she got that door closed. I might assume while it's closed, and I might go, ugh. But
I'm not gonna confront. Why is this door always locked? What's in that? So she go in there. She starts snooping around, and she finds out she was adopted, and then she has all these assumptions, and then acting like a little asshole. And should she find out what really happened?
Yeah, right. She jumped to she was quick to judge and quick to jump to conclusions, and like you were saying, for her to be a protagonist and all this stuff to happen to you, we didn't have any sympathy, because here you were jumping to conclusions, making assumptions, then you wind up being wrong. And it's like, how do you go back from that? And another thing that she kind of threw in there was a possible gentrification of the neighborhood, because I was like, okay, is this going in that route of Alyssa Cole and no one is watching? Because, and I get red herrings. I get that. But it was just like, it was just so much. Because, at once it was the guy who was trying to take over the neighborhood and buy all the property. He was the one who killed Nadia. Yeah. And then Dexter was in on it. And I'm just like, a bumbling detective.
Yeah. Like, all the characters were bad. Dexter was a little douchebag.
Yeah.
He wasn't nice. Her boyfriend on and off boyfriend was awful.
Yep. Chris was bad.
Yeah.
Wiley, whatever her name. She was
awful. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only people probably that were pretty decent were the parents, her uncle, and the lady who owned the diner. And, and the other people, like Mr. Kim and, the people who kind of helped her figure this thing out. But I kind of figured it out probably midway through, which also didn't help me want to finish the book, because I realized that the trinkets were really, what do they call those? Talisman. Those are tokens that a killer would take from someone, because, here we have all these stories, like you were saying, and listeners, this woman it was more than just the pieces that we just mentioned. I just mentioned in the synopsis, but you start and there was a story, and there was always a missing woman, or a mother, a single mother, or a helpless woman who was hitchhiking that she got these pieces from. And I'm like, I don't know too many people who are going to give you an item. I don't have any money, but you can have this keychain. Yes. No. And I started really figuring out, like, no, these are little tokens that a killer would take from a person as a memento.
Yes.
So,
and Nadia was savior to all these people, helping all these women. Okay.
Yeah. And then I realized too, like when they were talking about how Dexter was Black, and then I think, and Nadia was white, and she really didn't look like them, but she was always helping single moms. And I'm like, this woman has taken these people's children and killed them and taken the kids.
Yeah, that whole what's her face though, I didn't see that coming as her, her assistant. I didn't see her as one of the
Riley.
Yeah, Riley.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow, she's like basically one of the victims turned psychopath.
Yep. Became, sympathetic, or what do you want to call that? Stockholm kind of syndrome, and she groomed her basically.
Oh yeah.
And threatened her. She groomed it. As a child, if you don't do what I tell you to do, same thing is going to happen to you. So, but yeah, it was a lot going on in the story for 415 pages. Yeah. And the wrap up was not even a good wrap up.
No, it was like all of a sudden, all of these things started like tumbling out of the closet, like really rapid fire at the end there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Now I'm trying to figure out, well, who killed who? I started to get confused at the end. I'm like, wait, so who killed these people? And I'm like, okay, so Nadia killed the people. Okay, got it. And then I'm like, wait, but Riley's killing people too. Okay, got it.
Right. Like who could, right. And at one point it was like, I don't care who killed who. We just know Riley and Nadia were killers. And Nadia got tired of Riley. It basically, Nadia became jealous of Mickey Riley became jealous that Nadia brought in Mickey to tell this story. So it's basically a serial killer telling their story, before they die. And Riley was upset that, hey, I helped you curate all this stuff and helped you kill, and you didn't let me tell this story.
But that's another level of dumbness to me. Like, why would you be so jealous toward this woman who doesn't know either of you from a hole in the wall? She's an innocent bystander in this. She don't know you. She don't know nothing about this. And the woman, she just came around literally yesterday.
Yeah. Right. And all of a sudden, Nadia's gone. And then, wait. Hold on. I forgot about just that part. But then she threw in another layer, because Nadia had like 3 different personas, you know? Yeah. And I mean, I get it with being killers, Bundy did it, everybody did it, but she would dress up when she would go out to kill and be somebody else. So there was Nadia, there was Esther, and there was, I can't remember the other lady. It was
at first I didn't realize that Esther and Nadia were the same person. I'm like, what the F? What is happening? Like, do you remember when I text you and I'm like, I don't understand what's happening.
Right. Like, maybe I'm tired. Maybe I need a nap. That's how I was feeling, because I wasn't feeling well. And I was just like, okay, my brain. I got medicine brain. I got sickness brain. But then it was just like, it was several times that I had to rewind, because I'm like, wait a minute. So she dressed up. So the woman who brought the flowers that we thought was Esther Hill was actually Nadia. And then there was another woman that Mr. Kim saw, who was there first. And I can't remember her name. And I believe it begins with an N, maybe Naomi or whatever.
Something weird.
Yeah. But she came and she was nice to Sarah Park, but she was not nice to Mr. Kim. And she probably was not nice to Mr. Kim, because Mr. Kim was like, hold up, something is not right over here. So, so this woman was, she had 2 different personas. So when she went out and killed. So, yeah, that's how, after saying all that, that's how I feel like, this is a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was a lot, and it wasn't an enjoyable lot. It was just a lot to wrap my head around. And I felt like for all that to go on and it wasn't enjoyable, it was hard. It was really hard to push through.
It was, and the end was not satisfying. And sometimes when I'm reading something where I'm not quite getting the connective tissue, and then the end comes and I'm like, oh yeah, sometimes, you get that feeling like, I should have seen that, or that makes completely sense. A lot of sense. Right. I didn't get that with this. That didn't happen.
No, I was kind of like, okay, it's done. And then so not only that, with the adoption of Michaela, she had ran across her biological father in a coffee shop. And then in the end, he was stalking her.
Yeah.
But then, but he was in jail. He had a mental breakdown, and she got stabbed. He was killed. It was just like,
yeah, he like stabbed her like 12 times or something.
yeah.
And like that interaction they had was very creepy. And she brushed it off as just a homeless person.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not even looking at me. Da, da, da. He's making
Yeah.
comments about how she looks. You look familiar. Like she's like, tra la la, nothing.
Yeah. No. And he was like, I killed that bitch. And then, the big guy comes in and he kind of blocks her, blocks him off. But I'm just like, ooh.
I think I don't know what I would do if someone basically almost attacked me and yells at me that he killed some bitch after when I try to leave. I don't know what I would do. Yeah, but if I had a cop as an uncle, I'd be like, can you come up here and get this crazy man? Because guess what? The uncle would have known exactly who the fuck he was immediately. Yep.
Yeah, because he said, you look just like her. And then when she walked away, and I killed that bitch, I was like, oh.
Right. I'm like, oh, no.
Okay.
Right.
Creep factor, just, no.
Yeah. And then that confrontation, like, he just really wanted to take her out. Like, you were in jail for how many years? You came across as a quote unquote, he wasn't a disturbance in jail. He seemed to keep his shit together while he was in there. He gets out and act completely crazy and goes to kill a daughter he doesn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what?
But he didn't want her to begin with. That's how she got the scar on her face. And, he threw her because, basically he was jealous that her mom, Angie, was different once the baby came, and he basically wanted Angie to himself.
Yeah, so he did. And he's like, how dare you actually act like a mother? Don't you see me here? I'm your everything. I'm your world. How dare you take care of that infant?
Right. That I helped make.
Right. What a mess.
Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot. And yeah. I don't think I have any more to say. I think we probably touched on his money because there was a lot of moving pieces. And guys, that's basically how it was wrapped up in the end. We figured out Nadia killed folks. Her accomplice killed her. Yeah. Mickey's dad tried to kill her. She killed her dad. The end.
All right, y'all, we are late on our break, so we are going to take a very quick commercial break. Please do check out our sponsors for this episode. Check out the book review journal available on Amazon. Listen to these commercials and come right back. Stay with us.
At Capella University, you're in control of your education. With the game-changing FlexPath format, you can set your own deadlines and move at your own pace. The faster you move, the more you save. Visit capella.edu to learn more.
Across the country, hate crimes are on the rise by more than 25% in the last 5 years. The good news is there's something you can do about it right here in your community. If you witness or experience a hate crime, you're not alone, and the FBI is here to help and committed to justice. Report hate crimes at 1-800-CALL-FBI or tips.fbi.gov. Protecting our communities together. Report hate crimes.
Does every dollar you spend on your groceries create a healthier planet, build stronger communities, and help farmers get a fair wage for their work? They could. With Hungry Harvest, get a weekly box of rescued farm fresh produce and grocery staples that fight food waste and hunger delivered right to your door. Whether you customize or want to be surprised with our hand-picked variety of fruits and veggies, you'll save money and make a real impact. Sign up today and get 50% off your first harvest with code HUNGRY50 at hungryharvest.net.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. Welcome back, guys. So we're going to wrap up this conversation. I think we can talk about the audiobook narrator just a tad. Then we'll rate the thing. And I guess we'll share what we're reading next, which I should probably pull up on my computer because I'm not prepared with it. So you know how we do. So first, the audiobook narrator. What did you think of her? Did you enjoy it or?
She was okay. I mean, I didn't have anything, blaring that just kind of stood out to me. I would say at the beginning when I heard her voice, because I think I had it at, regular speed, maybe 1.5. I was like, oh, I kind of like her. And I think I was going to go and see if I could find some other books she possibly have read. But I possibly think I lost it because of the story. But her in particular, she was okay.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like pretty much the same way. I didn't have any big issues with her, although at times I admit I did fall asleep, but I'm not sure it was the narrator. I think it was the story.
Yeah. And I bumped her up to 1.8 because I was just like, come on.
I just want this to be over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought at one point it was going to pick up and I was just like, and then I was disappointed and I was like, all right, I got to push through. Through.
I did that exact same thing. I'm like, okay, I got about 3 hours left at regular speed. I always listen at 1.5 around there.
Yeah.
But so I think I had about maybe an hour and 45 minutes left or something around there. And I'm like, I am over this. I want this to be over. I'm just going to bump this. I actually think I went to 2 just to push through. I was like, I need this over.
Yeah, you were. I mean, I did 1.8 and I almost was going to bump it up, but I had taken so many pauses in between. And that's how I knew that I wasn't that interested in the book because I took too many pauses to try and finish it. And I even started it, I think the weekend, because I've been trying to start, a little later so I can be fresh in my mind. Yeah. And I still, there were times I was like, oh yeah, I got to finish this book. It wasn't one of those, oh my God, we're texting each other in between, where are you at? Yeah, no, we didn't do any of that.
And I feel like that is a surefire sign of when the book isn't going well, because I know on several of our 4 and 5 star ratings, that has happened. We are texting, we are chit-chatting about it. This was except that one time I was like, I don't know what the F is going on. I'm sorry. I apologize now because
I know you sure did. It was disclaimer. Let me say this. And I felt the same way. Maybe I'm not in the right frame of mind because sometimes that happens with books. And I just okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to but it wasn't. I just couldn't. And I like Rachel Howzell Hall. There's some other books, that she's written that I've enjoyed, but this one was not that book.
Yeah.
And it happens sometimes. There's just certain books that you don't connect with as a reader. And this was not the one for me.
This is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ditto. So with that said, I guess it's rating time. Let's rate the thing. Do you want to go first or should I?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I gave it a 2. Yeah. I don't have any other thing to say except for
no comment. Okay. I also rated it 2. I don't rate a whole lot of things 2, but it seems like lately I have. I know you guys on the podcast heard me rate something last week or the week before a 2, but what happens in the 2 zone is, when I rate things a 3, I'm at least neutral, right? I didn't dislike it and I didn't really like it. It was fine, quote unquote. But I didn't feel neutral about this. I did dislike it. So that is why I gave it a 2, unfortunately.
Anytime I feel like I'm trying to just get the book over with because it's painful and I want it to stop, I know.
I know
it's a 2.
You're like, make it stop. I can't do it.
Please. When are we recording? Okay, I gotta finish this. Bye. Yeah.
I know. That's how I felt. And honestly, the day we were gonna record originally, that was when I was pushing through that finish line. I'm like, I'm gonna get this thing done. I'm like, oh my God, I could never, because y'all, I finished these books for the podcast. I DNF other books, but for the podcast, we finish it for you. So, I don't want to show up being like, well, I didn't finish it.
I'm not even sure how it ended. Yeah, because there's been some books too where we didn't like, but once it got to the ending and we talked it through, we were kind of like, okay,
Not
I didn't
too
see
bad.
it that way. But
Yeah.
no, this one,
No go.
Yeah, I tried to even find 3 things I liked, and I did like some of the Black culture and some of the little comments, that I could relate to, but it wasn't a whole lot.
No, it was more Gen X or millennial. Well, actually, even millennials are older than this character. Millennials are in their 30s, aren't they?
I believe so. Yes.
So she might be a Xer. Is that the right thing? I don't know. What's less than?
Is it? No, it's not Y, because I think I'm a Y. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but she's not, I don't know. It's anywho. I feel like millennials are older than this character, but it was so much of that going on. I couldn't focus on anything else. And I was not excited about how excited the character was about grilled cheeses. She was loving the grilled cheeses. I'm like, I guess that Annie made.
Yes. Or maybe go get one.
Cheese.
Grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Another food that I haven't eaten as an adult. I have not eaten a grilled cheese as an adult, but I'm sure they're still delicious. I'd like a gourmet one with fancy bread and fancy cheese. Can I get that?
Yeah. And the thing was that she didn't eat much, remember? Sometimes I forget to eat. So, yeah. All right, little nuances. All right, ma'am. So I guess
that's it on that.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap on that. Up next, we are reading The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth. Let's see, that came out in October 2020, so it's available everywhere. Pick up your ebook, hardcover, or audiobook and get ready to, chat with us in the book club. You can join us on book clubs with a Z. The link is in the show notes, or you can head on over to Facebook groups and join us there as well. And you can talk with us about this title. And if not, you can be here this time next month and you can listen to Classy and I talk about it right here. So yeah, this one looks like it should be good. It's another mystery. Well, people are tagging it mystery thriller and mystery thriller. So we'll see. Definitely much shorter, about 309 pages. So it should be a short, succinct, tight story. That is what I'm expecting. Let's see if I'm right. The ratings are good. So let's see. We'll see.
Right.
Yes.
We're hoping.
Yes. Exactly. All right, guys. I think that's it. What do you think, Classy?
Yes. That is it, ma'am. I have nothing else to say.
All right. Well, guys, thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you are still hearing the sound of my voice, I really extra appreciate you for listening to the entire episode. As always, we'll see you guys next month. Happy reading. And until then, take care of yourselves. Bye, guys. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.
Does every dollar you spend on your groceries create a healthier planet, build stronger communities, and help farmers get a fair wage for their work? They could. With Hungry Harvest, get a weekly box of rescued farm fresh produce and grocery staples that fight food waste and hunger delivered right to your door. Whether you customize or want to be surprised with our hand-picked variety of fruits and veggies, you'll save money and make a real impact. Sign up today and get 50% off your first harvest with code HUNGRY50 at hungryharvest.net.
Almost 90% of women have cellulite. And guess what? It's not their fault. We don't choose cellulite, but we can choose a different way to treat it. Meet Quo, collagenase Clostridium histolyticum, AAES, the first and only FDA-approved prescription injectable for moderate to severe cellulite in the buttocks of adult women. This non-surgical treatment is injected by an aesthetic specialist in 10 minutes or less. Individual results may vary. Do not receive if you are allergic to any collagenase or ingredients in Quo, or have an infection at the treatment site. May cause serious side effects, allergic reactions including anaphylaxis, and injection site bruising. Seek medical help right away for any signs of allergic hypersensitivity. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions if you have a bleeding condition or take medicine that prevents clotting. Most common side effects include bruising, pain, hardness, itching, redness, discoloration, swelling, and warmth at the injection site. Ask your doctor about all possible side effects and for product information. If you're ready to get to the bottom of your cellulite, learn more and find a specialist at Quo.com.